Robert Hayes was running late, again. At 42, he'd learned that running late was simply the natural state of single parenthood. Between getting his 6-year-old daughter Lily dressed, fed, and convinced that yes, she absolutely had to wear shoes to school, mornings were always a controlled chaos. Now it was Saturday, and he'd promised Lily their special tradition, a hot chocolate at Corner Cafe. Copyright before her ballet class. She sat across from him in the booth, her small hands wrapped around her mug, whipped cream on her nose, chattering happily about everything and nothing. Robert smiled, only half listening. These moments were precious. After losing his wife Anna 3 years ago in a car accident, he'd learned to treasure the simple things. Saturday mornings, whipped cream mustaches, the sound of his daughter's laughter. The cafe copyright door opened, bringing a gust of cold November air. Robert glanced up automatically. A woman walked in, probably late 30s, with auburn hair pulled back in a ponytail and tired eyes that suggested she'd also had a long week. She wore scrubs under her coat. A nurse, maybe, just off shift. She moved to the counter to order, and Robert went back to his daughter. That's when Lily's eyes went wide. The words, "Daddy," Lily whispered, tugging urgently on his sleeve. "Daddy, look." Robert followed her gaze to the woman at the counter. "What, sweetheart?" Lily's voice was small, almost trembling. "She looks like Mommy." Robert's heart clenched. He studied the woman more carefully. The auburn hair was similar to Anna's. Yes, the height was about right. But that's where the resemblance ended. Really? This woman's face was different around her, with a scattering of freckles Anna never had. "Honey, no," he said gently. "That's not her." But Lily was already sliding out of the booth. "Lily, waiter." His daughter walked straight up to the woman, who was now waiting for her order. Robert scrambled after her, his stomach sinking. "Mom," Lily said, looking up with those huge brown eyes that Robert could never say no to. "Mom, you look like my mommy." The woman turned, startled. She looked down at Lily, then up at Robert, who had just reached them, his face burning with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry," Robert began. "She's 6, and she—" But he stopped, because the woman had knelt down to Lily's eye level, and there were tears on her face. The reaction. "What's your name, sweetheart?" the woman asked softly. "Lily," his daughter answered. "Lily Rose Hayes." The woman's hand flew to her mouth. She looked up at Robert, her eyes searching his face with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "Robert?" she whispered. Robert stared at her. How did she know his name? He studied her face again, trying to place her. The eyes, he realized, the eyes were familiar. But from where? "I'm sorry," he said slowly. "Do we know each other?" The woman stood up, still crying. "It's me. It's Claire. Claire Sullivan." "Anna's," her voice broke. "I was Anna's college roommate." The recognition hit Robert like a physical blow. Claire. Of course. He'd met her exactly once, at his wedding 15 years ago. Anna had talked about her often in those early years. Her best friend from school, the one who'd moved to Seattle for medical school and they'd gradually lost touch with. "Claire," he managed. Wow, it's been 15 years, Claire finished. "Since your wedding." She wiped her eyes, laughing shakily. "I'm sorry. This is just such a shock." "And when your daughter said," she looked down at Lily again, her expression soft and sad. "You look just like your mama, honey. She would be so proud of you." Lily's face crumpled. "You knew my mommy?" "I did," Claire said, her voice gentle. "We were best friends a long time ago. We used to stay up late eating pizza and watching silly movies. Your mama was the kindest person I ever knew." Robert felt his throat tighten. Lily knew her mother had died, or they'd been honest with her, in age-appropriate ways. But she'd been only 3 when it happened. Her memories were fuzzy at best. She was hungry for any scraps of information about Anna, any stories that made her mother feel real. "Can you tell me about her?" Lily asked, her voice hopeful. Claire looked up at Robert, asking permission with her eyes. Robert nodded, not trusting himself to speak. The stories. They ended up back at Robert's booth, Claire sitting next to Lily, who was practically vibrating with excitement. Robert's hot coffee had gone cold, but he couldn't have cared less. Claire told stories about Anna in college, before Robert had ever met her. About the time Anna had tried to dye her hair blonde and it turned orange instead. About how Anna always sang in the shower, terribly off-key, but with such joy that no one minded. About her habit of leaving sticky notes with encouraging messages on people's mirrors. Your mama, Claire said, tucking a strand of hair behind Lily's ear, had this way of making everyone feel special, like you were the most important person in the world when she talked to you. Lily beamed. Daddy says that too. He says Mommy made everyone smile. She did, Claire agreed. She made me smile even when I was having the worst day. Robert sat quietly, letting Claire's words wash over him. It hurt to God. It hurted to hear about Anna. But it was a good hurt, somehow. A reminder that she'd been real, that she'd lived, that her impact on the world hadn't disappeared with her. Why did you stop being friends? Lily asked with the blunt honesty of children. Claire winced. That's a good question, honey. I moved far away for school, and we both got busy with our lives. We always meant to visit, to call more often. But time kept passing, and it got easier not to reach out. And then, she glanced at Robert. And then I heard about the accident from a mutual friend. By then, it had been months. The funeral was long over. I didn't know if reaching out would help or just make things worse, so I didn't. And I've regretted it every day since. Her eyes were pleading when she looked at Robert. I'm so sorry. I should have been there. Should have called, sent a card, something. I was a coward. The invitation. Robert surprised himself by reaching across the table and squeezing her hand. You're here now. That's what matters. Claire's face crumpled again. I tried so many times to reach out. But what do you say after 3 years? Sorry I missed your wife's funeral. Hope you're doing okay. It felt inadequate. It felt insulting. It would have been enough, Robert said quietly. Anything would have been enough. They sat in silence for a moment. Lily, sensing the heavy emotions even if she didn't fully understand them, leaned against Claire's side. Claire wrapped an arm around her, and Robert saw the tears stream freely down her face. She looks so much like Anna, Claire whispered. It's remarkable. The same eyes, the same smile. I know, Robert said. Sometimes I look at her and it takes my breath away. Is it hard? Claire asked carefully. Raising her alone? Robert laughed, a short, tired sound. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also the best thing I've ever done. Lily's my reason for getting up every morning. My reason for keeping going when I wanted to give up. Lily looked up at him with those big brown eyes. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, baby girl. Claire smiled through her tears. Anna would be so proud of you both. Robert checked his watch and winced. We need to get going. Lily has ballet in 20 minutes. He hesitated, then made a decision. Would you want to exchange numbers? Maybe get coffee again sometime? I think Lily would love to hear more stories about her mom. Can she come to my ballet recital? Lily interjected excitedly. It's in 2 weeks. I'm a snowflake. Claire laughed, a genuine, joyful sound. I would love to come to your recital. If that's okay with your dad. Robert nodded, feeling something warm unfold in his chest. It's more than okay. 2 weeks later, the elementary school auditorium was packed with proud parents, fidgety siblings, and the overwhelming scent of hairspray. Robert sat in the third row, his phone ready to record. Next to him sat Claire, who texted him every few days since their coffee shop encounter. They'd met for lunch once, without Lily. Claire had shared more stories about Anna, deeper ones this time. About Anna's struggles with anxiety in college, about her dreams of being a teacher, about the time she'd stood up to a professor who was bullying a student. Robert had shared too about the early days after Anna's death, when he'd barely been able to function. About learning to braid Lily's hair from YouTube videos. About the guilt he felt on good days, when he realized hours had passed without him thinking about his wife. That's not betraying her, Claire had said firmly. That's healing. That's what Anna would want. Now, as the lights dimmed and the music started, Claire leaned over and whispered, "Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for showing up." Robert whispered back. 3 years ago and now. The curtain opened. Tiny ballerinas in white tutus took the stage, wobbling and giggling. And there was Lily, third from the left, beaming with pride. As the music swelled and the children twirled some gracefully, others not so meek, Robert felt Claire's hand slip into his. Not romantic, just connected, supportive. He squeezed back. When Lily's dance ended, Claire cheered the loudest, standing and clapping until Lily spotted them and waved enthusiastically, almost knocking over the snowflake next to her. After the recital, they took Lily out for ice cream, still in her tutu, chattering non-stop about the performance. Claire hung on every word, asking questions, genuinely engaged. Robert watched them together and felt something crack open in his chest. For 3 years, it had been just him and Lily against the world. He'd become so used to carrying everything alone, the practical burdens and the emotional ones. But here was Claire, who loved Anna too, who understood, who could share the weight of memories and stories. "Daddy, can Claire come to dinner at our house?" Lily asked, chocolate ice cream on her chin. Robert looked at Claire, raising his eyebrows in question. "I'd love to," Claire said, "if you're sure I'm not intruding." "You're not intruding," Robert said firmly. "You're family. You were Anna's best friend. That makes you family." Dinner at home. Clara arrived the following Friday with flowers and a bottle of wine. Robert had cooked a simple spaghetti, nothing fancy, but edible. Lily set the table with immense concentration, making sure everything was perfect. After dinner, while Robert cleaned up, Claire helped Lily with her homework at the dining table. He watched them from the kitchen, this woman who'd been a stranger 2 weeks ago, now patiently explaining second-grade math to his daughter. Later, after Lily was in bed, Robert and Claire sat on the couch with glasses of wine. "Can I ask you something?" Claire said quietly, "and please say no if it's too much." "Okay," Robert said warily. "Can I see pictures of Anna? I'd love to see how her life turned out, who she became after college." Robert's hand shook slightly as he reached for his phone. He kept so many photos, thousands of them. Anna pregnant with Lily, Anna in their garden, Anna laughing at something ridiculous, Anna on their last vacation together, months before the accident. He handed Claire the phone and watched her face as she scrolled. She cried silently, smiling through tears. She looked so happy, Claire whispered. So completely, utterly happy. She was, Robert said. "We both were." And then, he couldn't finish. Claire set the phone down and turned to him. "Can I tell you something? Something I've felt guilty about for years." Of course. When I heard about the accident, my first thought after the shock and grief was anger. I was angry at myself for losing touch with her, for letting our friendship fade, for missing out on years of her life. And I was angry at the world for taking someone so good, so kind, so full of light. She wiped her eyes. "I'm a nurse. I see death regularly. I've learned to process it, accept it as part of life. But Anna's death felt different. It felt wrong, unfair. And I didn't know how to handle it, so I didn't. I just pushed it down and tried to move on." "And then Lily walked up to you in a cafe tilde copyright," Robert finished. "And then Lily walked up to me in a cafe tilde copyright," Clara agreed, laughing wetly. "And suddenly I couldn't push it down anymore. I had to face it. Face the grief I'd been avoiding, the guilt, all of it." Robert reached out and took her hand. "I'm glad she did walk up to you. I mean, I didn't realize how much I needed this. Someone who knew Anna before me. Someone who can tell Lily stories I can't. Someone who—" He paused. "Someone who makes me feel less alone in missing her." Claire squeezed his hand. "You're not alone, Robert. Not anymore." 3 months later, Claire became a regular fixture in their lives. She came to Lily's soccer games, to school performances, to Sunday dinners. She never overstepped, never tried to replace Anna, but she was present, supportive, a link to the past and a bridge to the future. For Lily's 7th birthday, Claire brought a gift that made Robert's breath catch. It was a photo album, one she'd made from old pictures of Anna she'd kept from college. Anna at 19, laughing with friends. Anna studying in the library. Anna dressed up for a formal dance. "I wanted Lily to see who her mother was before she became a mother," Claire explained. "To know she was a person with dreams and fears and silly moments. Not just a memory or a photograph." Lily pored over the album with wonder, asking a million questions. Clara answered each one patiently, painting a picture of a young woman finding her way in the world. Later, after the party, after Lily was asleep, Robert walked Claire to her car. "That album," he said, his voice thick. "That was. I don't have words." "Thank you." Claire smiled. Anna would want Lily to know her, the real her, not just the sanitized version we tell children. Robert nodded. "Can I tell you something?" "Always." When Lily said you looked like Anna that day in the cafe copyright, she wasn't wrong. Not physically, you don't look that much like her, not really. But your energy, your warmth, the way you talk to Lily. He paused, choosing his words carefully. "You have Anna's kindness, her way of making people feel seen and valued. And maybe that's what Lily recognized. Not your face, but your heart." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "That's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me." "It's the truth," Robert said simply. They hugged goodbye, and as Robert watched her drive away, he felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Contentment. Not happiness exactly, the grief was still would always be there. But alongside it was something else. Connection. Community. The knowledge that he and Lily didn't have to walk this road alone. 6 months later, Claire stood in Robert's kitchen, helping prepare Thanksgiving dinner. It had become their tradition, Robert, Lily, and Claire, creating their own small family unit. Claire's parents had passed years ago, and she'd never married. Robert's family lived across the country, so they'd found each other, 3 people bound by love for someone no longer there, but whose presence still shaped their lives. As Robert carved the turkey and Claire mashed potatoes, Lily colored at the kitchen table, humming to herself. "She's so much like Anna," Claire said softly, watching her. "That same joy in little things, that same easy contentment." "I see it too," Robert agreed. "Every day, I see more of Anna in her. It used to hurt. Now it's a comfort." Claire turned to look at him. "You've done an amazing job with her, Robert." "Truly. I couldn't have done it without you," he said honestly. "These past 6 months, having you in our lives, so it's made all the difference. For both of us." "For me too," Claire said. "You and Lily, you've given me a purpose I didn't know I was missing. A family I didn't think I'd have." They worked in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Robert spoke again. "I used to think that moving forward meant leaving Anna behind. That healing meant forgetting. But you taught me something different." "What's that?" "That we carry the people we love with us. That they shape us even after they're gone. And that opening your heart to new connections doesn't diminish the old ones, it honors them." Claire smiled through sudden tears. "Anna would love seeing you two now. Seeing how you've survived and grown. She'd be so proud." "I hope so," Robert said. "I really hope so." Lily looked up from her coloring. "Mommy is proud." "I know she is. She watches us from heaven and she's happy we have Aunt Claire now." "Aunt Claire," Clara repeated, her voice wandering. "I like that. I like that a lot." Robert grinned. "Better get used to it. Once Lily decides something, it's decided." And as they sat down to Thanksgiving dinner of this makeshift family bound by love and loss and the random chance of a cafe copyright encounter, Robert said a silent prayer of gratitude for Anna, who'd brought Clara into his life all those years ago. For Lily, whose simple observation had changed everything. And for Claire, who'd had the courage to show up when it would have been easy to walk away. Sometimes the people we need most appear when we least expect them. Sometimes a child's innocent words can heal old wounds and build new bridges. And sometimes, the greatest gift we can give each other is simply showing up in coffee shops and ballet recitals and everyday moments and saying, "I remember her too." You're not alone in missing her. Let me help you carry this. That night, as Robert tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at him with sleepy eyes. "Daddy, I'm glad I talked to Aunt Claire that day." "Me too, baby girl." "Me too." "Do you think Mummy sent her to us?" Robert thought about it, about the randomness of that morning, about all the small choices that had led to that moment, about Anna, who'd always believed in meant to be and signs from the universe. "Yeah," he said, kissing Lily's forehead. "I think maybe she did." And as he turned off the light and closed the door, he could almost feel Anna smiling,